So what if I told you that there is a fairly unknown tactical shooter that has many of the mechanics that make Escape from Tarkov so amazing? There's a great number of guns with extremely well crafted models and animations. There's no shortage of weapon specific attachments. The progression towards new gear will keep you playing. The damage model with ammo and armor types as well as the ballistic system are top notch. There's a complex health system with limbs that can get damaged separately, and there are various immersive medicinal items. The survival mechanics are very well thought out, the difficulty can be extremely challenging, and you can customize the game exactly how you want it, and these points are only scratching the surface. But it's single player only, which in this case is a very positive thing. If you're like me, a gamer who's getting a bit older, even though I don't like to admit it, it might be hard to find the time to properly sink away inside a game world due to real life responsibilities. You know, kids, work stress, commitments to other people. This makes it hard to truly immerse yourself in a game, but it's even harder when the games require you to put in significant time to keep up. Escape from Tarkov is certainly guilty of this. But this game, since it's single player only and highly customizable to the way you like to and realistically can enjoy games, might just be the fit for you. And for the sweatlords out there, you can definitely punish yourself into oblivion with this one too. Being similar to Escape from Tarkov isn't the only thing that makes it great though. It's also an amazing game franchise in its own right. It's actually set in the post-nuclear wasteland of the Stalker universe. Well, in fact, it is Stalker, modified in such a way that it provides you with a Tarkov-like experience. And the best thing of all, it's free. Does that excite you? It certainly excited me, and I've been having a crazy ass time playing this. You might have heard of other mods and modpacks for Stalker, such as the Gamma modpack that blew up in the last 2 years, but today I want to introduce you to a different one. Stalker Escape from Pripyat, better known as Stalker EFP. And strangely enough, there are not many in-depth videos about this on YouTube yet, so I guess it's my job, and I'm going to explain to you exactly what it is, how it works, and why it is absolutely amazing. And I will also give you a short summary of the major differences with the Gamma modpack for those that are interested in that. So first of all, it's kind of complicated to describe this game, as it's quite unique, but it's important to know as it's not your average game. Basically, it's a collection of mods for a mod for the Stalker games that were released in the second half of the 2000s. You can install this mod pack as a pre-organized download package, but it takes a little effort and time. The Stalker EFP official Discord can help you with this. So quick background story. The original Stalker franchise was a trilogy of 3 games set in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. Modders combined these games into one single game world, which is called Stalker Anomaly. In turn, Stalker Anomaly got modded again in order to change and improve a lot of its gameplay systems, graphics, number of weapons and many other things. We're talking about 350 plus mods here, by the way, all made by talented modders and fans of the franchise. This specific mod pack had the goal to integrate Escape from Tarkov elements into this already amazing game world and take it to the next level in terms of realism, authenticity and immersion. And let me tell you, they certainly did a good job. The Stalker games have quite a cult following because of its deep dark lore, desperate atmosphere and brutal gameplay, and the franchise had its undeniable impact on pop culture since its release. The games were based on the 1972 book Roadside Picnic and the 1979 movie Stalker, but the games themselves have, in their turn, clearly had their own great influence on the popularity of other games with similar settings, such as the Metro series, DayZ, Into the Radius, Chernobylite, and of course Escape from Tarkov, among others. It's important to mention something though. Well, the Stalker EFP mod pack that this video is about, just like the base mod Stalker Anomaly, is set in the universe of the Stalker games, the type of game is very different from the originals. The original Stalker games are story driven with a single player campaign with extremely deep lore. So if you like playing games mostly because of the lore and story, or if you just want to learn more about it, I do highly recommend first playing these games, as these will definitely enrich your experience playing the mod pack. However, this is definitely not a requirement, and if you enjoy realistic stealth tactical shooters with loads of engaging mechanics set in an already fleshed out universe, this is exactly what you will need in your life. Throughout this video I will explain some small lore elements, but I will focus mostly on this mod pack itself, as the depth of the Stalker lore requires its own video, if not multiple. So if you want to learn more about the lore in Stalker, there are many good YouTube channels out there that specialize in this topic, such as Into the Zone. So with that out of the way, What is this amazing game world and how is it different from a story-driven campaign? Well, Stalker EFP is set in the universe of the original games, which is the Chernobyl exclusion zone in Ukraine, in an alternate history type of scenario. After the Chernobyl nuclear incident in 1986, strange things started happening in the area. Mutated creatures started appearing. Strange anomalies were beginning to endanger the environment. People had started disappearing, dangerous emissions and psi storms emerged and made it a place where no one wanted to go. Well, that's not true. In fact, there were people attracted to the zone for a variety of reasons. Some came for a chance to gain personal wealth or run away from their old life. Others for government-related matters. Multiple laboratories were established so people arrived for scientific reasons, and there were people coming for strict ideological reasons too. These people ended up in different factions that were set up all over the zone, with all of them having their own objective and agendas. These people were known as Stalkers. And this is where you come in, because out of all of these factions, you can pick one and enter the zone as a Stalker with your own goals in mind, and your own adventure to embark on. These various factions play a central role in the zone. They all have their own relationships with each other, some are neutral, some will kill each other on sight. The most well-known faction for people somewhat familiar with the universe are the Free Stalkers, people that go in for their own personal gain, and this faction is more of a loose brotherhood of individual stalkers. However, other factions include the military, who possess high-grade weapons but are hostile to almost everyone, scientific organizations that are more pacifist in their approach, international mercenaries that are sent in by mysterious clients, or factions that are there for ideological reasons or even sinister reasons. The faction you pick has a large impact on your experience in the game. It determines your access to starting equipment, starting locations, alliances to other factions, which in turn impact what parts of the zone you can easily travel to without being killed on sight. So this is an important choice to make. A while ago I actually made a lore background video about the different factions, which was targeted at the other popular mod pack for Stalker Anomaly called Gamma, but this is also relevant for Stalker EFP, so definitely watch it if you want to expand your understanding of the zone and to help you decide on which faction to pick. The zone is an extremely dangerous place. Loot is scarce and you do have to keep eating, drinking, attending to your injuries and sleeping to stay alive. And you especially have to watch out for the hostile factions as they will take you out in a heartbeat. What makes this game so different from other games is that you are not much stronger than the NPCs inhabiting it. A few bullets can be enough to take you out. Your weapon might jam at just the wrong moment and an enemy 2 blocks away might hit you in the head with a stray bullet. You will die a lot and the game doesn't care about you. After all, you're just one of the many stalkers that came to the zone for your own reasons. You're not special. But enemy factions are not the only danger. In fact, the zone can be downright scary, man. You can be minding your own business, doing a mission that seems rather easy, taking out some zombified inhabitants of an abandoned village. And then you find some kind of entity of which you would have preferred not to know it exists. Okay, let me take a shot and move on. The zone is a living and breathing game world, more so than that of other games. The NPCs in this game are not statically standing in one location waiting for the player to come visit them. The stalkers move around, get into fights with stalkers from other factions and also mutants. They loot dead bodies, they can and will get killed, and that includes your quest givers too. And while you're in one area of the zone, the stalkers that inhabit other parts still live their lives while you're not present. The world goes on when you're not there. There are a great number of dynamic situations popping up constantly, and nothing is scripted in this game. You will end up in crazy large firefights between factions. Mutants ambushing unsuspecting stalkers, you name it. And the beautiful thing is, everyone in the zone is connected with their PDAs, and through the messages in the bottom left, you'll have a pretty good picture of what's happening around you. Combining these dynamic interactions with the number of gameplay systems, the different factions you can pick and the huge amount of weapons and items, and you could probably understand that this game has enormous replay value. These complex systems and large number of items and equipment greatly immerse you into the zone. The amount of guns is staggering as multiple mods are combined, and all traders have all kinds of NATO and Warsaw Pact weapons. Furthermore, there are so many more you can find on dead stalkers. But not just the guns themselves are plentiful. Also, the number of optics and other type of attachments that you can find and buy will keep you busy for a long time. The best thing is that the gunplay and firefights are amazing, with all of the guns having brutal sounds, so you want to try out many different ones. Every trip from your safe and cozy home base with your fellow faction members around the campfire needs to be properly prepared. You need to take the right medicines and drugs to survive the hardships you will face. Bandages for bleeding, splints for healing your limbs, medkits for your general health, cigarettes and vodka for the ever-present radiation. There are numerous ways you can get wounded in this game, and often at unexpected moments. And don't forget to manually load the right caliber of rounds in your magazines for your guns, which you also have to clean and maintain, including the weapon parts themselves. Pack clean food and drinks, because if you run out, you will need to hunt mutants, and their meat is contaminated, but you can always force it down your throat with a shot of vodka. And water, you could find at a dirty source somewhere, and you could try to boil it or disinfect it with the right items. If you're heading into the territory of an unfriendly faction, you have the possibility to use their uniforms to pretend to be one of them with a pretty in-depth disguise system. Also, don't forget to plan and time your trip well, because you don't want to be caught wandering through the zone at night with only your flashlight, if at least you manage to get your hands on one. Luckily, if you've built a proper reputation and made the right friends, or spent the right amount of money on a gun for hire, you can bring companions with you so you don't have to face the horrors and challenges of the zone by yourself. The zone, after all, is a lonely and desolate place, and having some friends around will keep you sane and alive. As you can see, despite not being a story-driven single-player campaign like the original games, it's a very immersive experience. Actually, there is a story mode with a main quest that you can follow, but you don't need to. The goal of the game is to live in the zone. Everything is random, missions are randomly generated, and you can grab your PDA and choose missions that you would like to do for friendly factions to earn money and increase your reputation. There are all sorts of missions, ranging from escorting a stalker to a certain area, to contract killer jobs, taking out a mutant threat, to finding secret documents, to denying enemy force from entering a specific area, you name it. All of the stalkers that you encounter during your missions and while exploring have their own inventory, so killing them means you can steal their gear. Some factions, such as the bandits, often have low tier gear, but killing the more militaristic factions, well, admittedly harder, could offer you quite the nice little goodies. The stalkers within the factions can differ in rank, which greatly influences their gear as well as their skill. Every time you play the game and every time you choose another faction, the game will be different. And not just that, in fact you can customize your entire experience. At the start this will be overwhelming because you don't know how to play the game, but after putting a few hours in and getting a feel for the flow, you can tweak the game to your liking. You can change the damage that enemies do, the number of enemy stalkers and mutants, manipulate the weather, tweak the in-game economy, decide if you want to be able to only save at campfires or always have the ability to quick save, you name it. You can control an enormous amount of options if you want to. If you want to make the game an extremely challenging grind, no one's stopping you. But if you prefer a faster pace of progression because you only have a couple of hours to play, there's no problem doing that either. The customization even goes as far as disabling and adding new mods to the mod pack, so you can really make it your own game. For example, I added this mod called Free Zoom Revisited, which enables this DayZ style zoom function that greatly improved the gameplay for me. But if there are certain functions to the game that are a bit too tedious for you, like the manual refilling of the magazines, you can also turn these off. And finally, in terms of customization, if your PC allows it, you can drop a few files in the game folder and add a reshade plugin. Now you can even tweak the visuals to give it a mood and vibe that you prefer. So, should you play this game? Well, it's free, so you can decide for yourself if you enjoy it. The install process is a bit of a bitch though, but the Stalker EFP Discord contains a lot of detailed information on how to get the game going. If you're into tactical shooters with deep immersive mechanics, I think it's a no-brainer to try it out. As I mentioned earlier in the video, there's another mod pack called Stalker Gamma as well. Both are absolutely amazing and it depends on your preferences which is better for you. Stalker Gamma's mod pack is heavily focused on the survival aspects of Stalker Anomaly. This means you can't buy guns from traders and you have to fix them by collecting the right weapon parts and collecting repair toolboxes. This can and will be a long process and it can take hours before you have your first gun put together. For many people this is part of the appeal as it gives you a slow and steady progression, and getting a working gun that doesn't jam is incredibly rewarding. Also, on average there are more mutants, less stalkers, and the focus is less on gunfights. The textures in this mod pack make the game look more like a barren wasteland with dead trees, a lot of grey and brown colors, and the vibe is more like autumn. Stalker EFP however is strongly focused on the gunfights and you will constantly be engaged in them. It has more Tarkov-like systems in terms of gameplay, and even though the focus is less on the survival side, it's still Stalker Anomaly, so of course it's definitely present. The fact that you can have quicker access to higher tier weapons, as well as begin the game with pretty decent starting weapons, makes role-playing as certain factions, such as the military or mercenaries, more immersive, as starting as a fresh Stalker without any belongings seems a lot less realistic when playing as these groups. The graphics look more colorful and brighter because of the summer season vibe, although there's an optional mod for autumn vegetation in the mod list too. This is a matter of taste and the vibe you're going for, but as I mentioned, you can customize everything. So even if you decide to play either Gamma or EFP, you can tweak both mod packs in such a way that they're more similar to each other, so you could always try out both. Anyway, I hope this video made clear to you what Stalker EFP is about. Please check out the official Discord for more information on the game itself and the installation process. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. If you'd like to support the channel so I can make more videos, you can do so with the link in the description. It will be greatly appreciated. And guys, see you in the zone.